No.
You getting mad? I'm getting
I,
rich.
I started it, Joe.
Oh.
Okay, so today's February 21st, 5:56. We're starting our broadcast. I'm Emily. Go ahead.
I'm Joe.
I'm Connor.
Okay. So here, I'll share out the PowerPoint so everyone can see it. Okay, everyone can see that?
Mm-hmm.
Good. All right, so the article about TPAC, technological, pedagogical, content knowledge. This was the diagram he gave us. Just basically a visual representation of what it was and everything. And then this outside article that I found basically broke it down and like showed us what each part of it is. So like what the content knowledge is, just basically the teachers knowing their subject matter that they're teaching. The pedagogical knowledge, which is like knowing basically how to be a good teacher. And then the technological knowledge, which is just pretty self-explanatory knowledge about technology. And that's always changing. So anything you guys want to add about that? Okay. And then it went into like connecting each of them together. So the pedagogical content knowledge, basically knowing how to be a good teacher with your specific content area. So like it says there, covers core business of teaching, learning, curriculum, assessment, and reporting, aligning it with pedagogy. The technological content knowledge, knowing their subject matter and basically incorporating it with different technologies of the time. And that also has to do with like keeping up with technology and everything. And then the technological pedagogical knowledge just pretty much talked about like how to teach using the technology, like how to be a good teacher using the technology. And then the last thing it talked about, which is basically all of them together. So you can see here it really like encompassed a lot of different areas. The big one that I saw was knowledge of what makes concepts difficult or easy to learn and how technology can help redress some of the problems that students face. So that's really helping the students and helping them learn like different ways using the technology and making the concepts that they're teaching like relevant to them. And then we went into the article, so I'll let you guys do that.
All right. I guess we'll start out. So, it's the beginning of the article. It's kind of like, where do we go now? Well, we need to be able to integrate technology effectively into the learning environments because nowadays it's like learning in school systems. It's transferring from like pen and paper to a lot more like tablet based, like people are using. There's like many apps now where you could just different note taking apps, and a lot of kids do it nowadays, even in like like lower levels of education besides high school and college. And the teachers, they should be able to relate both of this, and on while the schools provide opportunities for the teachers to develop, because a lot of the teachers nowadays kind of grew up with that pen and paper method, and they need help in the shift, most of them at least. And it also goes on to say how it gives perspective with technology about what teachers know and what teachers do. And so there's other models that show what teachers do and not what they know.
Yeah, so I think that last part's really important because instead of just showing what the teachers do and how they teach, it's showing what they know, like their prior knowledge even before becoming a teacher and what they do. So.
And then as a teacher, you also have to use emerging technologies so that the one article shows the historical perspective of technology. And another article shows new technologies and influences that teachers have to integrate learning into their classroom. And then different learning opportunities help shape the way teachers integrate technology. And like since we grew up with technology, so we have an inherent advantage compared to older generations, so we can adapt better to newer technologies that come out.
Yeah. And then this one, so this part of the article really talked about like specific things that schools are doing, incorporating their technology and how it's working for them. So some of the articles talked about how like the grades for this kind of like experiment ranged from middle school to college, and they all worked with like basically Microsoft PowerPoint in multiple different ways. So that was pretty interesting.
Yes. So it goes on to talk about like the issues related to TPAC, which is one of the articles shows how research is looked at and then applied to teachers. Another article shows a survey of teachers that felt confident in their TPAC, but both shows issues with TPAC, which kind of goes to show that difference in like older teachers and younger teachers, and how like they both kind of come from different generations of how to teach. So like the pen and paper method again, and like the writing in like Microsoft OneNote. So that's pretty much it. This part of the article just kind of it shows like how like using technology like is like it's an advantage, but there's still like some issues and some things that need to be fixed in order for it to be more effective for both the teacher and the student.
Yeah, I agree. And then just like adding on to that, towards the end of that section, it showed that like what they're researching, like their faults in it, they should have collected the data while the teachers were working instead of doing it while it was just the teacher. So they like took the teacher into a separate room and talked to them separately instead of doing their research and their observations while the teacher was actually teaching the students. So that was something that they should have done differently, clearly. And then what should we do? Basically just expanding off of what I just said, like we need to find new ways to study and look at the TPAC findings and basically fix our current research with it.
I mean, you kind of like TPACs. It's pretty important, especially and it's going to see a change where there's going to be less issues because a lot of the people are going to the teaching profession grew up in the like technological era or whatever you would call it. So it's more of not finding a way to fix it where it'll kind of just fix itself.
Mm-hmm. Connor?
I just kind of agree with everything you guys just said. Like there will be a point where we'll understand technology fully, but then there's also a possibility that as technology keeps developing, there's still going to be a gap between what we know and the unknown knowledge. So that gap is still going to be there as technology increases.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with Connor, but like at the same time, like I feel like that gap won't be as big because of how we grew up. Like with like say for cell phones, like it wasn't really hard for us to like learn like how to use like a flip phone and then an iPhone. Like that was it was easy. I know for me personally, it was easy kind of like that transition. It wasn't my brain kind of just I was able to understand the technology better than like my mom was, who had trouble like opening up the camera. So I feel like it's going to be less of a gap, very small and easier to close.
Yeah, and I mean, ways to like close the gaps are to like I said on the slide, to like hold different workshops and programs and work with the teachers. And I know like Connor and I both went to Hampton High School, and I know like they would hold workshops and stuff to work with our teachers there for like teaching them how to use different technologies and like teaching them how to use different technologies and like how to incorporate it into the classroom. So I think that's really important to do with the teachers.
Yeah. Workshops are good, but like sometimes they don't always work because some people, like, I mean, even the teachers, like, they learn differently. So it's like not a lot of them. Like, I remember back in like third grade when like smart boards were being put into like the classroom, and like you of course, workshops with a bunch of teachers. I had a teacher, she was probably like 65, 70. She could never get it. She can never like work it properly.
Yeah.
So I think it depends on the age as well.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just an opinion, because I know, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. My psych professor last week wrote on the smartboard with a whiteboard marker, so there was that.
My history teacher did that the first day of class.
I think, but like also with technology, it's also just getting easier to use and understand as well,
Mm-hmm.
which is like pretty cool with the advances in it. Like, not only is it improving, but it also gets it easier to use for all people. So, I mean, I'm kind of like contradicting myself what I said earlier, but like even those like pen and paper teachers is what I keep referring them to. Like, it's getting easier for them to use technology, and like I guess that's why we need to keep with the TPAC stuff, is because of like how great technology is and how much easier it makes everything for the student and the teacher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like even going back to the visual that he gave us, I just think like the whole thing's really important, like relating technology, since it is like always growing, always changing, relating it to the content area. Like we're all secondary history majors, so relating like how to use an iPad with like the American Revolution or something, and then also relating that back to like how to be a good teacher and how to work with the students. I think that's like all really important and all things that like us teachers need to know how to do.
I agree to that.
I'll stop screen sharing this now. Maybe. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So how does the message of the article shape your professional practice? So what will we do like in the future to like keep this up?
Uh, I guess I'll start. I mean, when I become a teacher, my I'm gonna be I'm gonna run a very technologically based classroom, even though I'm teaching history. I feel like by that time, we'll be able to develop methods so where kids can use tablets and laptops and not be so distracted. Like, the only way there's going to be something a lot more advanced than just blocking certain sites on the internet or whatever. But it's also the job, like as my job as a teacher, to keep them like interested in that. Um, but I feel like since my class is so technologically based, people will be able to say take down notes faster, um, which allows my classroom to like move at a faster pace, and like we can get through a lot more material, and the kids can learn a lot more from that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like kind of going off of that, like you said, your classroom would probably be like technologically based. Like going into this, like going into wanting to be a teacher, I'm a very like I have to take notes and like I learn with a PowerPoint and everything, and that's how like always thought of teaching, but like seeing all the, even like the different apps that we use in class, and like when we worked with the iPads and everything, like seeing all the different uses for them for like projects and like classwork and stuff, I think it'd be like really helpful for the students to be able to do that.
And like how I'm going to take this into the classroom, technology is inevitable at this point. We're always going to have it from here on in. And kind of, I want to focus on like the content portion of it, because if you really know your content, then the kids read that off you and say, oh, this man knows what he's doing. And my history teacher, junior and senior year, he gave me the best advice when I was trying to decide whether to be a dual major or not. He's like, he said, go what your heart has to say, and then he's just like, you have to know your content. So take as many history classes as you can. If that requires taking a dual major, then just take all the history classes you can, because you have to know your stuff.
No, yeah, I agree with that. Like, I want to be like an American history teacher. I'm taking 2 American history courses right now, and I plan on taking more in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, whatever your teacher said to you. I mean, obviously I didn't have them because I'm not from Hampton, but I can actually, like, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think that's really important to do. I mean, clearly, like, as teachers, we need to know our stuff, or else we're not going to be able to do anything. But I just think, like, the whole thing's important. Like, in our intro to teaching class last semester, we talked a lot about, like, pedagogy, like, cultural pedagogy, just, like, pedagogy in general. So just, like, knowing how to be a good teacher and how to be effective and, like, working with the students is pretty important, so.
And I kind of like Duquesne's flex tech class, like how their flex tech classrooms is what they call them. Is like something I hope to, like, I hope my classroom's like. I mean, one, it's better because it's not an uncomfortable environment, like where you're sitting at a desk. Like, you can write on the tables, like there's a monitor available for you to, like, go on the internet, plus you already have your technology. You can write on the table instead of, like, you know, scavenging for a piece of paper, and then take a picture of it on your phone and then share it with all, you know, everyone in your group or whatever. So I mean, like, that's like one of those kind of cool advances that I like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Anything else anyone wants to add? Nope. Okay. So I'll just give the summary real quick. So basically, we just discussed basically the like different components of the TPAC: content knowledge, pedagogical knowledge, technological knowledge, how they were all connected, and what the TPAC basically was. And then just gave a summary of the article, the different researches that they talked about, the different articles that they worked with, and then how we want to incorporate it into the classroom. And we all feel that it's clearly pretty important to do, to incorporate technology and know your content and be a good, effective teacher. So, we good? That's it? Good to go. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, good.
Bye.
Good talking to you guys. Bye.